Well, Claudia has already interjected herself, so no need to introduce her. So today we're going to talk about open houses, but I woke up and was scrolling through Facebook, and I found this post on our Arrowhead office from one of our agents, and I thought it would be interesting to talk about. So here's the question, because we've all been in this situation.
Yes.
So escrow has not been opened. My client wants to cancel due to issues with the quality of the build, air traffic noise, and neighborhood findings. Now, there's been no inspection. So the listing agent, or the buyer's agent, our agent, sent the listing agent a notice disclosure stating, buyer hereby elects to cancel the contract during the inspection period as the surrounding conditions, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. AI told the agent to use the notice disclosure, which I'm impressed with AI knowing what a notice disclosure is, rather than using the BINSR, because the assumption was I can't use the BINSR to cancel the contract because I didn't have an inspection done.
Okay, so number one, AI can be a benefit for a lot of different things in a lot of different ways. If you have the agent layer that we have been familiar with, and we do have some connections to help you get that, it said the same exact thing. They're correct. So notice disclosure can work because if you read the contract, it says notice, right? However, the proper vehicle that we would always advise during due diligence is going to be the BINSR form. It's in your AAR library. Again, it specifically is for due diligence period, and it's automatic that the earnest money is requested to be returned. That is the important part of this, right? Yep. You need to follow your contracts. I love that they tried to call in and get the help, but I do turn my phone off, especially at 10 o'clock at night. But I was really, really happy that they called back first thing this morning. I did speak with the agent, gave him that advice. Again, the BINSR is there for a reason. I understand the notice disclosure. I understand they didn't do a physical inspection. However, if you read the contract, physical, non-physical, if you take a look at that buyer advisory, have you read that lately? Take a look at that form. It talks about
I've only gotten through the preamble.
Well, I heard you don't know what preamble is. You want to take a look at that document. I always just gave it to my buyer clients and said, here's this, please take a look. I need the last page signed. That's receipt that you've reviewed it or have a copy of it. I never really went into it much, and that's shame on me as an agent. I'm embarrassed. Because if you read through that, it has a lot of great tools in there for buyers. It is there for a reason. So yes, my answer to you guys on Facebook, I'm going to post it and I'm going to say, use the BINSR. The BINSR is a preferred vehicle for this due diligence period.
So the overriding question was, so in order for me to use the BINSR to cancel the contract, an inspection is not required.
No, it's not required.
That's really what people were.
Physical and non-physical. So yes, it's not required to do an actual physical inspection.
Yeah, you have to be careful about using AI. Even the attorneys, are cautious. There's a story that our CEO can tell about that. But the issue is prompting, and the issue is it doesn't really know the law, and it really doesn't. If you were to do something that your broker said do this, and you used AI and did something other than what your broker told you to do, there's a possibility if that ever developed into an issue at any time through that process, you could be out of the loop and having to represent yourself and get your own attorney because you failed to do what the broker told you to do.
Well, then just hire ChatGPT to represent you. It's all good. If it got you into the mess, have it get you out of the mess.
That's the question. Who holds the liability? AI is not going to hold any liability, right? So you need to be cautious.
I think that's coming in the next 10 years.
Good luck.
I do. I'm waiting for those lawsuits.
It's like blaming a video game. Yeah. Good luck.
Okay.
Good luck.
All right. Well, let's talk about open houses. And we should make that into a video game.
Oh, wow. Wow.
No.
Oh, a real estate video game.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then give them options.
We'll have AI develop it, Nick.
I think training would be good for that. Okay. So yes, open houses. So some people love them, some people hate them. I've always loved them. I really, really have. I go into it with a positive attitude. Maybe even if I don't get anybody come and visit, I try to be positive. because open houses do work. They work for a lot of different reasons. I have one great story. Brand new agent at West USA reached out to a listing close to where she lived. She held it open, had 2 visitors stop by, and got 2 listings out of that open house with a whopping list price. I've never had a listing that high. So it was pretty amazing. The fact that, number one, she was hungry enough to go out there, reach out to a West USA agent, offer to do open house because it was right by her home, so convenient, and she was able to land those 2 listings. That's amazing work.
It's amazing. So then it goes back to, because I agree with you, I think there are 2 types of agents as far as open houses go. Agents that think open houses are horrible, that they're a waste of time because they've never gotten anything from it. And then there's the agents that say, hey, open houses, I love open houses because I'm successful at them. So that means if you feel like open houses are a waste of time and you're not getting anything out of them, it's possible that you might be doing them wrong.
Yep.
And
Correct.
that you're missing some components, because she just didn't get those 2 listings because she put an open house sign. She was doing something right, whether it was presentation or conversations and so forth.
You know, the number one reason why real estate agents don't make it is because when they wake up in the morning, they either don't know, don't want to go, or don't go find their next buyer or seller. And they don't know how to create conversations that we have spent 13 years explaining to people and giving them tools to be able to go do.
It's another T-shirt. Repeat that. I've
No,
never
I'm
heard
not
you
doing
say
it
that.
again. So the next thing is going to be, though, NAR. There was an article in the Realtor magazine at one point where a brand new agent went to work for another company, was drowning, came to work for the second company, and the agent and the broker told them, "Listen, do you know how to hold an open house?" And she said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, go do open houses every single day until your volume of business equals enough to support your income that you're looking for." And so she did. At the end of the first year, all I remember was her first name was Susan. At the end of the year, she sold 135 properties. And this wasn't in a good time. This was in a typical market like we're in right now.
Right. And so open houses are great tools to try to showcase that property. But it's also a good time for you to practice. Practice speaking to visitors. Practice going through properties. I say it all the time during our React training. I think the agents are probably sick of it. But no one teaches you how to describe a property. No one says to walk in and say, oh, look at the coffered ceilings. Look at the pendant lighting. Look at the quartz countertops. Nobody tells you that those executive height sinks are higher and that's an upgrade. It's a good idea to go visit the new home builders. They have a lot of those amenities listed for you. It's like, great, you did the homework for me. You should be doing that at your open houses. So I did want to get into these things before we go off tangent, because I know you like to kind of go off the highway a little bit.
Yeah, Todd.
What? No, Todd's on the highway. He's straight as, yeah. Okay, so be strategic. So that is really important. When you're picking your open house, look for properties, number one, that are listed with West USA, right? You want to make sure that you are working with other agents within our brokerage. That is the cleanest way to go about it. Now, I'm going to talk about some other options when we get to the second slide here. But if you're strategic enough, you can find a property, go look on MLS, listings that are offered through West USA, reach out to those fellow agents, ask the question, but look at where the listings lie. Is it going to be difficult for my signage to be seen as I'm going into the property? We call it ingress and egress. You want to make sure that you're being cognizant of that. If you have a property that's stuck out,
4 turns off of a major
right,
street.
it's not going to work. It's going to be very difficult to get public, because not only do you list it on MLS that you're having an open house, because what happens when you put anything on MLS, it syndicates out. It does a great job for us. So then you know what? Zillow will show that you have open house. It's going to be out there for the public to see. People are driving around, they pull up the neighborhood, Zillow comes up and it says, oh, look, there's open house here, right? Or if they're following you on Facebook or whatnot, post it on your socials, put it out there. They're not going to come visit. It's not like, build it and they will come. You have to let them know that you're having open house, number one. So being strategic is really important. We cover that on our Flex MLX class in React. Leslie Del Maestro with American Title does a great, phenomenal job of guiding our agents. So that's number one in being strategic. Make sure you have that mapped out. Don't wait till the night before. Plan it out. That goes the same with publicizing. If you're going to go and do a neighborhood, knock on the doors, hand them a flyer. Hey, good morning. Introduce yourself. I wanted to let you know I'm holding an open house on Saturday. In case you see something, it's just me. If you want to come by and compare, you want to, send your best friend who you would love to live next to you, have them come visit. It's a great way for you to get to know the neighborhood, because if you plan it right and do open house at that property every weekend, because it's nice and convenient for you, right? You obviously choose something within your area, then they're going to get to know you, your face, your brand, every time they turn into their home. Are they going to remember the listing agent per se? Probably not. Sorry, unless they do a really good job of marketing that they listed, they're on the market and whatever. But they're going to see your signs every weekend for 4 weeks, do a month. That's great. Even if you don't get the people coming in, you work on your business, right? So there's lots of things you can do. So strategic planning is very important in open house.
They used to say, tell the 10 people across the street and the 4 people on either side of the property that you're holding it open. Leslie Del Maestro will give you a whole marketing strategy on how to get more people attending your open house through some really pretty cool HGTV style campaigns. But again, when you're knocking on the door, if all you're doing is handing them a flyer, hi, I'm holding an open house, leave, then that's it. But if you're excited about holding the open house, number one, so go in there looking excited when they come to the door. And then also start asking them some other, if you feel that they're the kind of person that you could have another question, maybe be lucky to ask another question, say, it would really help me understand your neighborhood better if you could tell me what were the reasons why you moved here. And then if they start talking to you, you might be able to say, how's the HOA? Are there any issues in the neighborhood? Would you, if you had a chance to buy a home in here today, would you do it? And you can learn so much more. And that makes them want to call you to sell their house, if they're interested in thinking about selling. Because you're the realtor that didn't just go, oh, here's my flyer. I'm going to be holding it open.
Now, in the past, I picked up a really nice Palm
Am I
Valley.
allowed to talk? I didn't know. I didn't know whether I was in a timeout or what I was.
We have some really quickly. So I did do a Palm Valley listing a while ago, years ago. And I was holding open house. So I walked the neighborhood and I handed out flyers and I spoke to neighbors. And one neighbor opened her door. She was very, very nice. I said, so how long have you been living in the neighborhood? Because she was she liked to talk. And she said, oh, I've been here 16 years, but my daughter moved, she moved on to college. And, we've been kind of thinking, the house is kind of big. I said, yeah, I see that you have the biggest model here in the neighborhood. I said, have you considered possibly downsizing, getting that pool that you want or something? And she said, you know what? I hadn't thought of it, but that's a great idea. She's like, could we set up an appointment? We sure did. No. And we got her into that beautiful home in an adult community with all the bells and whistles. So it worked out for her. But go ahead, Mike, please speak.
No, I was just kidding. But I do have a question, though.
Yeah.
As far as time, what's the optimum amount of time to hold an open house?
Okay, so I'm a fan. I've always done 10 to 2. I've always done that time period. People are leaving their home or coming back from sports or whatnot. I'm not a fan of holding a 2-hour open house. That to me makes no sense whatsoever. You want to go and give it time. Again, that time is not just for the property, but it's for you, yourself, and your business as well. Put in a 5-hour day. Not a bad idea. What about you, Mike?
I would say, this is supposed to be a full-time job. If I hired you, I'm not letting you work 4 or 5-hour days. And my feeling is if you're going to do an open house, be out there all day, especially if you don't have anything else to do. I get it if you got showing appointments and so forth. But if it's either that or being at home or in the office, I don't care whether it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'd rather you be at doing an open house than being in the office if you don't have anything specific to do. Because anything that you're doing at the office, typically you could do at your open house.
Being a radio show host, Mike, let me ask you this.
We work 2 hours a day.
No. Does the broadcasting network make more money if they sell ads during drive time or during the middle of the day?
Drive time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So think about this when you're holding your open house. It matters what day you're doing it, and not necessarily Monday, Tuesday, but maybe weekday versus weekend. And so if you're holding a house open on a Saturday or Sunday, you have to take things into consideration that are going on, like church people on Sunday. Like, for instance, Saturday, to your point, Claudia, in the middle of the day always seems to do great. You'd never want it during the week. You'd never really want to do it in the morning because everybody's late to work. So nobody really wants to go to work. So that's not really a very good time. However, people that drop their kids off to school have a little bit of freedom in their life starting at about 9:30, and certainly they're going to do certain things. So then maybe 9:30, and then when do you stop? Well, most people stop around 3 o'clock because you go, oh, my day's almost over, blah, blah, blah. Well, what about all the people driving home from work? That is the point. That's the time that they can actually go, I'm not really ready to go home to my wife and the 5 kids going crazy. Maybe I'll just stop into this, open house and take a look.
I'd be inviting, now that I'm thinking about it, I wouldn't personally do it, but I'd be inviting all the moms to come down Monday, Wednesday, Fridays from 9 to 11 for celebrity yoga.
Yeah.
I've got a celebrity yoga instructor.
Oh, leave it to Mike. No, but even during the week, I had
days of our lives.
Days of his life. Right? So I had an agent that was doing them weekdays from 3 to 7 p.m. and that he was catching a lot of people coming home from work. Curious people in the neighborhood that, oh, you know what? Hey, I'm going to stop by. It was a great idea. And he got some good clients out of it.
Really quickly, I want to say we started this off with being strategic, and I 100% agree with you. But what I would challenge agents to do, because you're going to pick up a listing someday that's going to be a challenge to do an open house on. So once you get a few open houses under your belt, and I 100% agree, those first few, you need to set yourself up for success the best that you possibly can. But once you start to figure out your flow, how you do open houses, and you start to see success, try a challenging location. So if and when you pick up that listing, that is 4 turns off a major road, you've got experience and you've got know-how and you've done it a couple of times. So don't just say no to those at first, yes, but once you get experience, try a challenging open house.
So we did talk about horror stories in open house, so I will bring up a little bit of that. So in being strategic, I was not. Shocker. I did an open house in a wonderful community in Goodyear, adult living, and I wasn't versed in the property or the community very well. But I was there, gung-ho, had my open house, had my, chocolate-covered strawberries, waters, all my little tchotchkes. Not a lot. I'm not a fan of covering the countertop. You're there to show the house. But I had some things there. Somebody walked in, and they asked me what model it was. I was like a deer in headlights. I did not know the model. And in that community, they have their information. They do their homework. That visitor made me feel so small and so ill-prepared that, yes, I went back after that open house and I learned everything I could because I did not want that to happen again. So that's part of, knowing the property.
I'm just coming up with some great ideas. So
I can see you taking notes over there.
I've got a ton of them. My kid he's attending school outside of Tucson. So every time we're driving down to Tucson, there's those signs that say drive X amount of miles further to see the thing. And you're wondering what the thing is. Yeah. You need to have the thing in your open house. Yeah. Come see the thing. I don't know whether you got go get a giant iguana or something. I don't know.
Well, back to knowing the property. That is a great tool for AI. If you are through a house and you aren't all up on appliances and different countertops, utilizing your ChatGPT, your Claude, whatever, taking photos of that and asking it to give you a general overview of what this is. Now, I've not asked it the plan specific to my house, but I did run it through the ringers on Saturday asking for county assessor information, public information about my specific home. And this is what I do on the weekends, guys. And so it was able to pull a tremendous amount of information, but I didn't ask plan. So it is something, to your point, having a longer open house, it gives you that time before you start or while you're sitting there waiting for people to show up, taking pictures of all the appliances, taking pictures of the countertops, asking it to give you some fun buzzword stuff that you can post on social media. Like it gives you that, the property, and then tell me about the area. What are some hot spots, some restaurants, things that people like to do? You can do that from the home now. You don't have to be out and asking the questions. You should, but you don't have to.
If you're working in a what they call housing for the older persons, which is 55 plus or even a 45 plus community, those people, To your point, Claudia, you said it, and I want to make sure everybody heard it, not unheard it, that these people have done their homework. They know the models, and there's only like a limited number of models in each one. Of course, where did your parents used to be down there?
Pebble Creek.
Pebble Creek. Pebble Creek.
That's where it was.
Pebble Creek has like 9 models, so you know you got to. But it seems that there's 1 or 2 that resell the best.
If you are marketing in Pebble Creek, Sun City, any active adult community, I think I came up with this idea this weekend. Don't ask me why or how, but you need to have your own personally branded bingo daubers.
That's a good idea.
These people carry dauber holsters to
When
show
they go.
Yeah,
because
You
they
know
do
what else?
double-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what else they do a lot? Pickleball.
yeah.
They're way into pickleball, and that's great being active. But so we can joke about a lot of things
Pickleball
here.
with your face on it. Pickleball racket with your face.
That's a great idea, Todd. Smash it. I think that should be part of our 40th anniversary celebration gift. I did want to talk about safety first because it is really important. When you're holding open house, you just want to keep the eye line of exit available. Never back yourself into a corner or against a wall. You want to be able to move. I don't want to scare people, but it's very, very important that you think about your personal safety. If it's a 2-story home, do not follow them up all the way to the 2nd story. Don't follow them into a bedroom where you can't get out. You should always be closest to the door. Those things are important to know because you don't want to be stuck in that situation. If you can have a buddy come visit you at open house, my parents, God love them, for 29 years, they have stopped and visited me at every open house that I do. They do try to bring me food, and I'm sorry, but eating a chorizo burro in an open house is not a good idea because of it smells. But they come visit me every time. Invite a lender to come with you. I'm sure Matt and some of his crew would be happy to sit with you and do some quick pre-quals while you're sitting there, because that is extra ammo for you. You want to be able to have someone there with you, even if you team up with another agent. Now that brings up another scenario and another little thing here. Communicate. If you are going to be holding an open house for another West USA agent, make sure that you talk about it. What's going to happen to those leads that come in? Do they belong to you? Do you owe them a referral? Have that conversation. You don't want it to come up after the fact and then there's bad blood going on, right? You want to make sure that you talk about it and have that spelled out and you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I just have to tag on that real quick. If you're an agent, not the listing agent, and you're there to, in your head, find buyers or potential candidates, customers, potential real estate clients, you have to remember you are a listing agent when you're holding that home open because your brokerage has that listing. They're already under an exclusive relationship with them. So you can't walk in, let somebody, if it's an unrepresented buyer, you can't say, well, that's okay, I would represent you and the listing broker would represent the seller. You can't do that. You know that by now. But just remember that all of your actions, pretend there was a video camera in that house, and all of your actions have to promote the seller. And you have to demonstrate that home like a new home salesperson would a spec home.
Yep, and that brings us to the next thing. So there are some broker concerns. If you want to go ahead and click on that for me.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So there are broker concerns that we want you to be aware of. Lots of people will say, oh, let's do wine and cheese open house, and that sounds great and all. But if something should happen when they leave that open house and you have made available to them an alcoholic beverage, where's the liability going to lie? Again, I don't like to scare people, but that's literally my job. My job is liability and compliance. And so you guys have to be careful out there. We say do not do it. Do not provide alcohol when you're doing open houses. It's never going to be a great idea, right? Can you do a contract while someone's under the influence, Mike?
You're not supposed to.
The answer is no, buddy. It's no. It is no.
That's a hard line on that one.
I got a funny story for afterwards.
We'll talk about that on Friday
he
at
didn't do it. He
Kimbara.
didn't
Well,
do
we're
it.
having a drink.
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah, we're not going anywhere Friday. Thursday. So that is something to take into account. Implied agency is huge. So this is something that Dean really wanted me to make sure you guys were aware of. When people walk into open house, they are visitors. The minute you start giving them any advice, you're implying your agency there. When they say, oh, is it a good time to buy? Or, oh, what do you think about this? Or I talked to my lender and he's offering me this this interest rate, number one, you're not a lender. Number two, if the minute you start acting like you're representing them
or helping them
in some way, you are. So make sure you're being cautious of that. Again, you can get yourself into a lot of trouble if you're not cautious. Invites and flyers. Dean also wanted me to make sure you guys are aware. A broker needs to approve some of those. You can get creative and make something snazzy, but you want to make sure that you have all the required things to meet compliance. So email it over to advertising@westusa.com so we can give it a quick sanity check. Owners open. Owners can hold open house, but they cannot use the brokerage signs, the directional signs that have our brokerage on it. And they must disclose to the visitors that they are the owner. It's an owner's open house. They do not represent the brokerage. Okay? Yes, West USA agents can hold other brokerage listings open with permission and clear signage. When a visitor walks in, the first thing you say is, "Welcome to open house. My name is Claudia Ewen. I'm with West USA Realty. I'm doing a courtesy open house here." And then you can start having that conversation. Are you represented by a buyer? Have you signed a buyer-broker agreement? Great. No? Okay. I would love to show you around. If you have any questions, or if they say they have an agent, great. Take a look around. If you have any questions, please let your agent know, and they can reach out to me. Make sense?
I didn't know that.
awesome. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's actually the cleanest agency, representation relationship is if you hold another broker's open listing.
Yeah. So, and other brokerages cannot hold West USA listings open. We do not allow that at our brokerage for lots of reasons, but there is compliance there. There is liability. There is cost. We wouldn't want to open up our sellers to more liability or to any extra cost for compensation, because then who works for the seller? That is too ambiguous there. We don't allow that.
So, but we allow other brokerages to get into that. I love it.
If that's again, we do our homework. All we can do is run and help our agents how we do. I do want to shout out to Ms. Gail Oliaga out of the Scottsdale office. Thank you for listening. We had a great conversation this weekend. Had a wonderful weekend on call. I love it when you guys use us as a soundboard like we are supposed to be. And you guys kept me busy, and I enjoyed every single conversation with you guys. I invited you all to listen to the podcast. So shout out to all you great agents at West USA. And if you haven't heard, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary. And I'm excited to come out on Thursday and talk to you guys and maybe have a little bit of wine or something. But it's going to be a great time.
But don't write any contracts.
But don't write any contracts.
Yeah, at the company event.
All righty.
Claudia is still on call until Wednesday, so please feel free to continue to call.
I'm just bringing a whole folder full of buyer broker agreements on Thursday and just walking around and having people sign them.
Be ready at those open houses. Have your buyer brokers. Have your. I like a template on transaction desk. Quick send out buyer broker agency. We can have that conversation. I'll show you that home next door if this one doesn't fit your needs.
All right, Claudia, great stuff. I do need to put together like a 3-pack or a class. I don't do very many open houses anymore. I've done a ton in my time, and so I'm not as familiar with how to overcome these Ring doorbells and the speakers and where people aren't actually, they're talking to you through the speaker. So if anyone's got any ideas, I would love to hear it.
I might do a video open house scenario. I mean, they're all different, but that might be a great way to train and to learn a little bit.
All right. And then next week, I wrote down a ton of just crazy open house ideas. So next week on the 3-pack, I'm going to go through some of them. Claudia, thank you. Great information as always. Leave everybody with the quote of the day: "A comfortable, beautiful place, Nick, but nothing ever grows there." Boom. Go out and sell a home.